Nothing's gonna get through this baby.
You're alive.
Which is more than I can say for Oa.
What's the plan?
Hey all you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here, and I'm back at the review studio, going to be taking a look at the brand new DC Multiverse 2-pack featuring Green Lantern members Kilowog and Kyle Rayner. So this 2-pack from McFarlane Toys is being sold as an Amazon exclusive. It is still available on the Amazon website, and it has started to ship out to folks, at least those who pre-ordered it when it initially went up. It has started to ship out to folks over the last several days. So I got mine yesterday, and I thought it's been a while since I've done a review for any DC figures, but this one I definitely found to be interesting, and so I thought I would go on and take a closer look. So let's first get a look at the packaging on this one. So it comes in your typical window box type packaging. Again, it is a 2-pack, and Kilowog is definitely a bigger figure. So, you know, it is fairly large size packaging. You've got the gold label logo up there in the corner because, again, this is an Amazon exclusive. The DC Multiverse logo down below, like always, along with the names of the 2 figures. But the figures are clearly displayed, even though this is an online exclusive, so it's not like you could look at it, you know, at the store before you buy it. But again, the figures are clearly displayed. If you are, for some reason, somebody who likes to keep your stuff in the packaging, you still can get a good look at the figures inside. Now, on the sides, you just have the names of the characters, and then on the back, you have some artwork for both Kyle Rayner and Kilowog. Also, John Stewart there in the corner. Okay, so let's go on and get this open and take a look at what's inside. So right off the bat, I will tell you, I think this is a pretty nice set overall. Both figures are nice. You get a fair number of accessories, which is not something you can often say with McFarlane DC Multiverse stuff. Now, of course, it did take McFarlane, you know, 3 tries before they got Kyle Rayner right. But, you know, in of itself, again, this set is pretty solid overall. Okay, now before we take a closer look at the figures themselves, let's go over all the accessories that are included in this 2-pack. So like with all DC Multiverse figures from McFarlane, you get the art cards for each figure. So here's a look at the Kilowog art card, and it is the same artwork that is featured on the back of the packaging. And on the back, you get the brief bio for Kilowog. And then here's a look at the Kyle Rayner art card. And again, you get the brief bio on the back of the card. Also included with every DC Multiverse figure that McFarlane does, you get these little figure stands, which are done with just the thin black plastic with the 1 peg that has the DC comic logo on them. Now, the only figure to come with an extra hand is Kyle Rayner, so you get the closed-fisted hand for the right hand with the power ring, and then you get a grip hand with the power ring. And the hands are, you know, easily switchable. You just pull off the one hand and then pop on the other one. And they do, you know, the hand does fit nice and tight on there. And again, not something you often get with McFarlane figures, but they do give you the extra hand for Kyle Rayner. Beyond that, you get a number of power accessories for both characters. So you get the big mallet for Kilowog, which is done with a green translucent plastic. Some nice sculpting detail with the little spikes here on both ends. You also have the Green Lantern logo sculpted on the mallet and some nice detailing on the handle as well. You also get a larger power battery, again with the translucent green plastic for Kilowog. And finally, this giant sword, again with green translucent plastic, which, you know, Kyle could actually use this if he wanted to, but I'm going to say this is probably meant more for Kilowog. And then for Kyle Rayner, you again get a power battery, a smaller one for the smaller figure, again done with the green translucent plastic. You get a smaller sword, again with the green translucent plastic. This one I would say is meant more for Kyle Rayner. Then finally, you get this chest piece for Kyle Rayner. So, you know, it looks like he's got the energy shield over his body, and this just slips over his head and fits on there nice and snug. Alright, so now let's take a look at the figures themselves. So you can see Kilowog is much bigger than Kyle Rayner, as he should be. Kilowog is basically a mega figure. So he stands approximately 8.5 inches tall. And then the Kyle Rayner figure is just a little bit over 7 inches, maybe 7.25 inches tall. Now for some quick comparisons, here's a look at the DC Multiverse Lobo figure, which is a bigger size figure, but not as big as Kilowog here. So I think the scale between these two is pretty good. And then for one more comparison with Kilowog, here's a look at the Calabac Mega figure that McFarlane Toys did, which honestly I feel like is maybe a little too big. And you can see Calabac is definitely bigger than Kilowog here. Now for Kyle Rayner, so first of all, here's a look at the first Kyle Rayner Green Lantern figure that McFarlane gave us with that lime green color. So this new figure definitely has the correct green, the darker green to it. It's the same figure otherwise, but definitely, you know, this first Kyle Rayner was not that great because the colors were not really accurate to what we saw in the comic books. Now, of course, this one was a Walmart exclusive, so I would say this one is actually, as long as you're willing to buy the 2-pack, is easier to get. And finally, here's a comparison with other Green Lantern members, Hal Jordan and John Stewart. This is the first Hal Jordan that McFarlane did, and the first John Stewart that McFarlane did. And Kyle is a little bit taller than the other two, which I'm not sure if that's really comic book accurate or not. And of course, we have gotten other versions of Hal and John in this line, though I do not actually own those figures. But you can see here that the green on all three outfits does match one another. So I definitely feel like these figures look pretty good if you're trying to build up your Green Lantern core. And then here's a look at Kilowog with the other 3 Green Lanterns as well. All right, now let's take a closer look at the figures and the detailing on these. So I think they did a pretty good job with Kilowog here. This is the first time that we've gotten Kilowog in the line. I'm sure it won't be the last, but again, I think McFarlane has done a pretty good job with the sculpting detail on the outfit, with the texturing and everything, and the Green Lantern symbol, which is painted, but overall it looks pretty good with the white and the green. Again, you have the texturing all throughout the figure on both the black and the green portions. And then with the head sculpt, I think they did a pretty good job with the sculpting overall. He's got that kind of pink skin tone. You can see red on his eyes, though it doesn't show up that good. Maybe they could have made the red a little bit brighter red. I'm not sure, but overall, I'd say it looks good. You can also see him gritting his teeth there, so just overall nice detailing. The snout, nose, the little spikes that pop up on his cheeks, his kind of pig-like ears. So again, you know, I think they did a pretty good job. You got even some sculpting on the neck here, down here. So, like I say, overall, you know, I think they did a really good job. You can see his power ring there with the closed fist. He does not get an open hand for that one, the right hand, but he does have the open hand on the left. No extra hands on this one, but at least he does have a grip hand, so he can hold either his hammer or his power battery, but of course he can't hold both because he only gets the one grip hand. Now, like with all the McFarlane figures, you know, this crotch piece is done with a rubber material, and so over time you do sometimes get where this piece gets bent out of shape. So you can kind of see that already with this original Kyle Rayner figure that I have. You know, I don't really like these crouch pieces. It doesn't look bad on these figures with the black. You know, it doesn't really look like he's actually wearing a diaper, which you do sometimes have that problem with other figures. But, and even with this one with the green, I don't think it looks bad. I just worry sometimes that this rubber material, you know, when you're moving the legs and stuff, will get kind of bent out of shape. But, you know, that's kind of par for the course with McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. So, you know, if you've been collecting this line, you're pretty used to that. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the Kyle Rayner figure because, again, it is the same one that we've already gotten 2 different times already, just with the correct colors. But again, the much darker black and the darker green looks really good on the figure. He's got the kind of almost like a navy wash in his hair there. But I think it looks pretty good overall, and he's got the green mask, and you can see his eyes, and that's sculpted on there, so that all looks pretty good. He's got the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern symbol with the black and green, with the white, big white area on his chest. Again, with the diaper crotch, you'll have to be careful with stretching that out, but overall it looks pretty good. And then you've got the detailing with the green boots. All right, now let's go over the articulation on both of these figures, and it is pretty much on par with what we see with other DC Multiverse figures. But let's start off with the Kilowog figure. So with Kilowog, you can rotate the head all the way around. He can look down a little bit and look straight ahead, but he can't look up at all. You get a little head pivot with this one as well. Then with the arms, you can get the arms out good. You do have the butterfly joints. You've got some back and forth movement. And then you also have the bicep swivel. You've got the rotation there. So you've got multiple rotation points there at the upper arm. You only get a single hinged elbow, so you can bend his elbow that much. You also get the rotation with the hands. And then you have the hinges, so you do get up and down movement with the hands. Pretty good up and down movement. Now for the midsection, you do have, he can look down about that much, and he can look back about that much, but not a whole lot, so he really can't look up very well. You've got rotation there at the midsection, and you can pivot to the left and the right. You also have got a waist swivel, and again, you've got some pivot there at the waist. You can also, I guess, you know, with the both the waist and the midsection, you can have him look up, but it does look kind of funny when he's doing that. But you know, overall, pretty good midsection movement, I would say. Then with the legs, he can do the splits good, though again, you got to be careful when stretching out this crotch piece. You've got essentially that rotation up high on the figure. You don't have an actual thigh swivel, but you do have rotation up high there. You do get double jointed knees on this one, so you can bend his knees pretty good. You do not get a boot cuff swivel, but you do get ankle pivot, up and down movement, and toe articulation as well. And he has 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Now the Kyle Rayner figure, exact same articulation as the one that was released at Walmart, and the other one they did as well, but he can rotate his head all the way around. He can look down good, and he can look up about that much. So he's got some up movement, better up movement than the Kilowog. Also get head pivot there. With the arms, again, you have the butterfly joints. You can get the arm out good. You've got good rotation. You've got the bicep swivel. You do get double hinged elbows on this one, so you can bend pretty good there. You've got rotation with the hands and the hinges. Of course, you do have pins on the figure. Again, with the midsection, you've got rotation. He doesn't really, he really does not have much in the way of ab crunch. So he's got less movement in the midsection than Kilowog does. You get some pivot, you got rotation both at the waist and at the midsection, but again, he really can't crunch forward very well. Again, with the legs, he can do the splits pretty good, but again, you want to watch that crotch piece. You've got the rotation up high, you've got the double jointed knees, you have rotation and ankle pivot and toe articulation and up and down movement, so overall pretty good there, and 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, as I said, I think this is a very solid set. It is a shame that it took 3 tries to get the Kyle Rayner right, but I do think they got it right this time with the correct colors. You know, the previous figures were decent figure-wise, but again, correct colors on this one, and then the Kilowog is a really nice figure as well. So you're getting 2 solid figures in this set. Even if you've purchased the other Kyle Rayner figures, I think this one is worth getting, and it will go nicely with your other Green Lantern figures. You can also like interchange those power parts with, you know, between Hal, John, and Kyle. So, you know, if you're picking up all these various Green Lanterns that McFarlane's been doing, then, you know, you're probably building up a fairly nice power effect library for your figures. So, as I say, this is overall, I give this set a thumbs up. One downside here is do watch those crotch pieces, that rubber material and those crotch pieces that, you know, they can get stretched out and then the figures don't look as good. But otherwise, I would say, again, very solid figures here. So Amazon exclusive is available now. I'll put a direct link to it in the video description below if you want to check it out if you haven't already. I'm not sure if it still says pre-order or just buy, but I think it will ship out to you fairly soon if you want to add it to your collection and buy it now. So I'd love to hear your own thoughts. If you've already gotten the set yourself, I'd love to hear your own thoughts down in the comments section below. Like this video if you're so inclined. It does help with the algorithm. Also, please think about subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell notification if you're new. If you want to support the channel, you can become a Action Figure Enthusiast channel member, and there's also a link to that if you want more information on that in the video description below. As always, guys, stay safe out there, and until next time, I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. For all the latest action figure news, be sure to head over to toynewseye.com, marvelousnews.com, JediInsider.com, and tformers.com. And remember, action figures are great,